We're talking about creating happy workplaces. You've presented to us this afternoon, Dom. Perhaps you just introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Dominic Monkhouse. I'm the Managing Director for EMEA for Pier 1 Hosting. I'm also the Senior Vice President for Customer Experience globally.
Okay, and you've been doing some of this happy stuff. You've been on your own happy journey for a little while. Tell us how you kind of started that off.
Well, I guess I've worked, I've worked for some big companies, Marks and Spencer's, Glaxo, and I worked for some small companies. And I guess it was in some of those smaller organisations where I realised there was that big difference, where in the smaller businesses, maybe the employees' happiness made a big difference. And so I was determined when I got the opportunity to end up being MD and running my own company that I would take some of those things and put them into practice. So I've been doing that since, I don't know, 1999, say, and I've been, I think I probably bumped into Henry Stewart from Happy about then,
right,
okay. and have been stealing ideas off him and anyone else he'll introduce me to since then.
Okay, and in your presentation you talked about a number of sometimes quite extraordinary things that your people had done to keep customers happy, yes, and to make sure you got net promoters out there. Just
yes.
Give us a sense of some of the things that you've done.
Well, I think the thing is that it's, although we're in the technology space, we're a service company, and it's about the interactions our staff have with our customers. And people say, "Oh, our staff will go the extra mile." That's sort of a platitude. But we've got many examples of staff sleeping in the office, staying up all night. Even yesterday, I got an email this morning when I got up from our network manager saying, BT delivered us the network into the office last night at 6 p.m. and the guys were doing some training till about 8. And rather than go home, they decided to stay and configure the network so it would be ready for everyone this morning. And they went home. The team went home at 3 a.m. And so nobody asked them to do that. I didn't make them. Yeah. They've done it because it makes them feel good about doing it. And that's the attitude that we seek in the people that we hire. You can't, it's a performance everyday service, and you want people to volunteer to do it. I can't make them.
Okay, and does this result in a good level of staff retention?
Oh, totally. I suppose, a quick anecdote, if I may, which is, I remember working at M&S, which is one of those companies that on the outside seemed like it was great, and on the inside it wasn't. It was pre the M&S fall out of favour with the middle classes. And we used to have a poster on the wall that said, doing a good job around here is like pissing yourself in a dark suit. It gives you a warm feeling, but nobody else notices. And so some people at M&S were there doing an amazing job, but nobody seemed to care. And so maybe it's like David Beckham playing football for the pub team. He knows he's good, and the other people around him are not helping him to be better. And we try and hire people who've got that thing, and we put them with other people who are like that. And then they sort of, the level that they go to, they constantly self-checking and pushing each other on to more. And also because they're like-minded, then they work in an environment where people are very appreciative of the efforts that they put in.
Yeah. You gave an example in your talk of a weekly email that you sent out to people with a simple question, kind of yes or no, whether they're happy.
Yes.
And what kind of follows on from that. Just tell us a bit about that.
Well, you know what? I didn't realise that Alex was in the audience, and because it's from some of his work.
Oh, right.
And so I remember if it was, I can't remember what the three things that he, in his work that he puts in, but that was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I was running a company called IT Lab. We had some culture change we needed to go through, and we thought that this would be really useful to try and spot people who were who are unhappy or who's stressed on a day-to-day basis. So you get the email goes out, and then you've got 24 hours to respond. You can either say happy, neutral, sad. And then, if people are sad, I will find out why and see what I can do to help them. And sometimes it's work, sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's just overwork, sometimes there's an interpersonal relationship. Sometimes that their mother's died and they haven't got enough money. In the past we've flown people to South Africa for funerals, and because anything like that, anything that you can do to help. And even people who don't reply are sort of neutral, unless they didn't read the email. But there's sort of non-participation is also a danger sign in terms of trying to spot on a transactional level on a weekly basis, trying to spot lack of engagement.
And how would you advise someone who wants to start this journey in their own company?
Well, I think if you're the MD and you don't already do it now, that's going to be bit of a Damascene moment. You're going to, if you don't already do it now, I don't know why you would start. So you're likely to be inside another organisation, and you're likely to have a team or a department. And I think you can the openness, the transparency, the support, allowing teams to make decisions about stuff that's important to them and not, frankly, important to me, is really, really easy, and you can do that at a team level. And even before I was the MD, other companies where I ran teams or parts of companies, my staff had, the highest levels of productivity, and that was on the back of engagement. You can recruit people differently. You can hire for attitude, even if that's not a company thing. You could start to say, okay, I'll start hiring for attitude.
Whilst you're the MD of Pier 1 Hosting, then you're part of a larger organisation, I believe. So
that's right.
So how does it kind of, how do you manage upwards and outwards in terms of this kind of approach?
Well, I'm one of the executive team that run the organisation globally. So I've got a global role, and I'm in the UK. We've got some people who have global roles from Canada, and we've got some guys in the US who have global roles as well. And I've got 100 folks in the US who sort of report up to me. And so, some of the things that we've done in the UK, we do have an advantage because we've got everybody, or pretty much everybody, in one office. And so some of my tasks are to take that across to North America. One of the things we've done, I showed some photographs of the office with the slide and the pub and the swings and the dog and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things we've done there is that's the first office that we have built to a new global office standard. And so next year we'll be rolling that out through North America. So, we've sort of got a microcosm here, and so it allows us to experiment, and then. But at the same time, there's stuff that comes, if you like, down from head office. So we're looking at a whole, job family. How do we take pay off the table as something that causes dissatisfaction? And that's, we've actually hired a director of HR, global HR, in the UK, who's now running that. So.
Okay, and finally, have you picked up a particular thing today that you'd like to put into practice?
Well, I thought the Google new manager hiring program was really good, and that's certainly something that, if I was to say, what's the thing that great people have said to me after they get to about 90 days and sign off probation, I would say that at the moment, given our scale, they say that our onboarding isn't as slick as it should be, and that's staff, anybody, and also managers. And so I thought that was something, great data as well from their survey. So I think that's the go and look again at our onboarding.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thank you. Cheers.